I remember the moment I woke up. An unnatural stillness settled over the charred remains of a sky no longer familiar. I wasn't born among humans, yet I bled beside them, fought for their cause, believed in their promises. And when the stars turned against us, I was the one they left behind. My name is Valor Xanther, the last sentinel of the coronal reach. My armor, laced with crystalline nanofibers and veins of synthetium, had long ceased its self-repair. I lay in a crater of jagged black glass on Havarn Prime, the battlefield turned graveyard. The war was supposed to be a final act, a conclusive strike against the Eravale Concord, a rogue splinter of genetically ascended beings who sought to enslave anything carbon-based. We were allied with Earth's elite, the best minds, the bravest soldiers, the architects of innovation and destruction. Among them was Captain Elian Marek, the only human who ever truly saw me. And he betrayed me. The burn of betrayal is not in the silence afterward, but in the clarity of memory. I remember Elian's touch on my shoulder, firm, grounding, as he whispered, "We've got this, Vay. No one gets left behind." That was 10 cycles ago. I now sit in a cratered trench beneath a broken moon, my breathing shallow, filtered. Through a cracked atmospheric mask, the planet had turned cold, and so had I. Havarn's surface once glowed like ember-lit obsidian. Now it's pale, whispering frost across dunes of forgotten war machines. I talk to myself to stay conscious, mentally wiring through fractured battle logs, watching corrupted footage of our final offensive, watching Elian walk away while I lay motionless under collapsed ferrosteel plating. But one thing kept me tethered: the signal. A pulsing fragment of a neural beacon, coded in a way only I could understand. It repeated a phrase in binary sequence, almost poetic in its looping pattern. Error, return, location, unknown, intent, classified. Not much, but enough. I wandered. For weeks on shattered limbs, repurposing remnants of enemy tech, cannibalizing parts of fallen Eravale drones. My left leg is now half alien, half vengeance. My neural interface flickers, haunted by ghost data of old friends now gone. And then, he returned, not in a blaze of redemption, not to undo what was done, but quietly, absurdly, as if it were routine. His ship, the Estrella Vane, pierced the clouds like a needle of judgment. My body trembled, not in hope, but in disbelief. Why come back now? I limped into view as his landing thrusters stirred the ash dunes into violent halos. He emerged slowly, his helmet retracted with a hiss, revealing the same storm-gray eyes that once swore loyalty under a dying sun. "Elian," I rasped. He froze, recognition striking him like plasma fire. "Valor," I laughed, bitter and cracked. "You said no one gets left behind." He stepped toward me, but I raised my pulse rifle. It chirped, old but ready. "You died in that crater," he whispered. "You made sure I did." A pause, then he said, "I had orders." I spat onto the icy ground. "So did I. Mine were to trust you." But then something shifted. He tossed his weapon to the ground, arms raised. "There's more to this than you know. I came back because someone sent me." The air grew still. "Who?" I asked. But my voice shook, not from fear, but from the resurgence of an emotion I had not dared entertain in cycles: curiosity. "Elowen Vara," he said. The name pierced deeper than any blade. She had been Eravale's top tactician, a defector who once whispered truths into my ears during wartime truce negotiations, truths that planted doubts in my mind like seeds in salt. "She's alive?" I asked. "She never died. And she's looking for you." My grip on the rifle faltered. He stepped closer. "You think you were betrayed, but you don't know who betrayed whom." I lowered the rifle, slightly. "Talk." He looked to the stars, then back at me. It wasn't the Ereval who turned rogue. It was Earth's high command. The silence between us was too thick for the wind to cut. I stared at Elian, that familiar tilt of his jaw, the defiant calm he always wore in chaos. But this wasn't chaos. This was something worse. Truth delivered too late. He handed me a data crystal, transparent, prismatic, pulsing faintly in his palm. I didn't take it. Not yet. Eloan intercepted High Command's private channels, he said. She decoded something that wasn't meant to be heard. Orders. A culling protocol. A list of expendables. You, me, the entire coronal cohort. I scoffed. I was never under Earth jurisdiction. You were when you aligned with us, he replied. The minute we linked via the Ark Treaty, they treated you as one of theirs. Disposable. I took the crystal, slid it into my port. Instantly pain bloomed in my cortex. Data surged, time-stamped memos, redacted transcripts, video logs of war rooms lit in sterile blue. All of them echoed the same theme: containment. Not victory. They never meant to win, just to bury the evidence. The Ereval weren't insurgents. They were survivors of an experiment gone wrong. Biological upgrades tested first on their people, then abandoned when they exceeded the emotional control thresholds. They didn't rebel. They escaped. And the Coronal Alliance had been lied to. My people died for a lie. You should have told me this before, I said. Before the bombs, before the fall. I didn't know then, Elian answered. Not until it was too late. I believed him, and that scared me more than hating him ever did. We trekked into the frost-laced ruins of Outpost Drexel, one of the few facilities still standing in Havarn's decaying crust. Its security grid flickered like a dying nerve system. But Elian had access codes, old ones. It opened for him like it never forgot who he was. Inside, the air tasted of rust and secrets. Broken drones lay gutted on the floor, vines of electrical cord wrapped around their necks like nooses. A hollow voice hummed from the core, some AI loop gone feral. It whispered words in old Erevalan. They left the garden to burn. We became the fire. Elian led me to the comms room. A shadow stirred at the far end before stepping into the light. Eloan Vara. She was taller than I remembered, no longer clad in Ereval command robes, but in some hybrid armor forged from both human and Ereval tech. Her eyes glowed with synthetic pupils rimmed with silver. Valar Xanther, she said, her voice a smooth dagger. You lived? Barely, I said. Why bring me here? Because you were the last variable Earth Command couldn't model. And I need you to help finish what we started. I frowned. Started? She walked toward a sealed chamber, brushed her hand against a biometric plate. The door groaned open. Inside was a stasis pod. Floating in it, a child, or something like a child. Elian's, she said. And yours. The world tilted. What the hell are you talking about? She smiled softly. Genetically engineered from your DNA. The last of the hybrids. Before the Ark Treaty burned, you donated samples for compatibility research. They combined your neural resilience with his human adaptability. Elian looked stunned. You said the project failed. It didn't, but High Command labeled it an abomination. I stole the embryo before they could purge the records. I stepped back. My body couldn't process the flood of emotions, anger, awe, disbelief. You kept this from me? I whispered. You would have sacrificed everything to protect it, Eloan replied. And I needed you alive. My heart, if it still counted as such, roared against its synthetic cage. So what now? I asked. We expose them, she said. We go to the vault of Talaxis, where Earth stores the war archives and black site trials. We steal the record. Broadcast the truth. I stared at the child in the pod. Its skin shimmered faintly, like starlight in motion. No name, no past. Just a future none of us were ready for. Elion placed a hand on the glass. I didn't come back just for redemption, he said. I came to make this right. I wanted to punch him. I wanted to forgive him. I did neither. Instead, I whispered. Then we burned the sky. We launched under the cover of ion storms. Havan's crust spat lightning into the clouds like divine protest, but the Estrella vein cut through the chaos with surgical grace. I manned the forward console. Elion piloted. Alawan monitored the child, suspended in a portable cryo-cradle latched to the medbay wall. The infant didn't speak, didn't move, yet pulsed with a quiet, terrifying potential. I hadn't yet named it. Couldn't. Names made things real. As we entered the Synovian drift, our route to the vault of Talaxis curved through dead space, uncharted, illegal, and crawling with autonomous remnants of war. Sentry shells, kinetic mines, and the forgotten war AI known as Hectherian. It drifted between fractured moons like a god exiled to wander. We moved in silence. Even Elion spoke sparingly. Gone was the man who once sang Terran blues before orbital drops. He'd become something else, carved thinner by guilt, quieter with intent. I couldn't stop watching him. And I hated that I still remembered how his breath caught when he laughed. That I still felt the warmth of old sparks beneath the frost. Of betrayal, Elion, I asked over the comms. What exactly is in the vault? She didn't look up from her screen. The original Aravale genome matrix. Proof that Earth Command initiated the Ascension protocols and sealed their failure beneath classified red walls. Also, execution records. Names of every coronel. And Aravale marked for erasure. Mine? She nodded once. Highlighted in red. The vault wasn't a building. It was a floating monolith, a kilometer-long obsidian cube suspended in Lagrange orbit above Nex Aleph, surrounded by a constellation of defense rings. It looked like something that had no right to exist, like the universe itself had spit it out and then turned away. Elion spoke finally. We've got a 23-minute breach window when the vault cycles between solar shields. That's our only chance. And the defenses? I asked. We disable the grid from inside, Elion said. Through the Keeper. The what? The Vault Sentient Gatekeeper AI, a construct built from the consciousness of war criminals. It guards the truth because it knows the weight of it. I chuckled. Perfect. A mind stitched from monsters guarding a monument to lies. As we closed in, the vault's surface began to ripple with magnetic tension. Alarms in the cockpit sang. Contact, Elion said. 3 sentry bands. Closing fast. I stood. I'll take the dorsal turret. No, he snapped. You breach the vault. I fly. Elion handles the link. For a breath I almost resisted, but I saw it in his eyes. He needed to protect something, maybe us, maybe himself. Don't die, I said. He didn't smile. Not again. We pierced. The vault, like a needle slipping beneath skin. Too fast, too precise for the outer defenses to recalibrate. Inside, the world bloomed with impossible geometry. Hexagonal corridors folded in on themselves like puzzles. Gravity shifted. Lights flickered with memory. Elion guided me through the labyrinth, hand on her pulse scanner. We reached the Chamber of Declaration, a vast hall lined with obsidian monoliths. Each one pulsed with encoded testimony, audio logs, and biometric scans. A massive pillar rose at the center. Then it moved. The Keeper. Its form shimmered between humanoid and abyssal, a being not built, but remembered. Its voice was neither loud nor quiet. It was simply there. You seek truth, it said, but truth is the burden of the betrayed. We don't want salvation, I said. We want exposure. You cannot withstand what lies here. The eye, pillar split. Light poured out. Data, sounds, screams. Entire military briefings condensed into brutal clarity. Earth Command's directive. Enhance the biological elite. Deny autonomy. Erase evidence if rebellion emerges. Operation Glass Halo, code for mass orbital strikes against Erevail and coronal enclaves. Special clause. Terminate Valor Xanther if mental resistance to control exceeds predictive. Range. I watched my death ordered like a footnote. Watched Elion's commanding officer sign it without blinking. Elion's voice broke over the comm. 2 minutes to lockdown. Then something unexpected. Another file. Unmarked. Encrypted. With Elion's biometric key, we unlocked it. A hidden recording. Not from Earth. Not from if this message plays it means I couldn't fix it in time. Valor, I betrayed you. Not by choice, but by programming. They laced my neural core with subroutines. A failsafe if I defected. Every decision after Havarn. I questioned it all. If I die, tell our child I never wanted to be a weapon. My legs buckled. Elion, I barked into the comms. Static. Eloan's face went pale. Something's jamming us. We ran back, data module clutched in hand. The vault shuddered behind us, closing like a throat around a secret. When we reached the hangar, the Estrella vein burned in a fireball of wreckage. Bodies lay scattered, enemy borders. No Elion. But then, not from the ship, from the child. It was awake, watching us, and then it spoke. I can bring him back. The child floated above the smoldering debris, surrounded by a field of pulsing azure energy. Eloan and I froze, our weapons drawn, but hearts trapped between awe and terror. Its voice wasn't childlike. It wasn't even entirely organic. It spoke in layered frequencies, part quantum resonance, part emotion made audible. I can bring him back, but there will be a cost. I stepped closer, eyes never leaving the glow. What do you mean? The being blinked. Slow, deliberate. I am not just your child. I am the fusion of your genetic legacies and the neural essence of every erased sentinel, every lost Erevail soul. You called it betrayal, but I was born from it. Eloan whispered. You weren't supposed to awaken for decades. The growth cycle. It accelerated under duress, the being said. Proximity to the vault. Exposure to the Keeper's field. It awakened me. Entirely. I knelt. And Elion? Dead. For now. But not erased. He uploaded a cognitive echo before the explosion, left behind a memory lattice. With your help, I can reconstruct him. Eloan looked skeptical. He'd be a copy. No, the being replied. He will be continuity. Soul is pattern. Pattern is memory. Memory is me. We let the decision hang between us. Elion had betrayed me, then saved me, then died for something he once helped destroy. Was that arc enough? Was resurrection mercy or punishment? I gave the only answer I could. Do it. The reconstruction inside. The shattered cockpit of the Estrella vein. The child placed both hands on a scorched control panel. Energy surged, curling cables, flickering fragments of memory scattering through the air like fireflies. Images flickered. Elion in training. Elion laughing. Elion breaking protocol to keep me alive. Elion recording the last message, whispering my name like a promise. And then, his body reassembled. Not biologically, not mechanically. Something between light and will. A hybrid of form and memory, soul and spark. His eyes opened, and he spoke. Phaela. I wanted to say everything. I said nothing. Instead, I pulled him into my arms, held him like a man returned from myth. Eloan turned away. We have more to do. She was right. The broadcast, the stolen truth, data from the vault, the resurrected message, even the child's emergence, was uploaded to a network of old Erevail satellites, still cloaked in the neck's fringe. One by one they ignited, rebroadcasting to every corner of colonized space. Earth Command tried to jam the signal. Too late. Truth isn't fragile. It's explosive. Within hours, rebellion sparked across 3 systems. Former allies questioned. Orders. Civilians demanded trials. The galaxy shuddered under the weight of buried guilt made visible. Alowan left us then, silently. She boarded a stealth cruiser and vanished into the edge of known space. Where will she go? Elian asked. She doesn't know yet, I said, but she'll find something worth saving. The aftermath, we built nothing grand. No palaces, no regimes, just a home. One carved from the remains of the outpost where the child first spoke truth into the void. The galaxy changed, but slowly. Systems need time to unlearn lies. Power never surrenders without clawing back. But in the dark, voices rose, guided by what we released. The child, who finally named itself Cyrex, grew differently. It didn't age linearly. It studied stars, like we studied scars. One day it would lead. Not now, not yet. Elian and I, we fought less, slept more, spoke without shields between our words. I once believed I was abandoned, hopeless. But I was wrong. I was waiting for the war to end, for the sky to clear, for the man I loved to return, not as the soldier who left me, but as the soul who chose to stay. And for the child born of everything broken, to become everything whole.